Okay.
Okay, great. Welcome, and this is the meeting of the ANC3C Residential Historic Preservation Committee. Our meeting for February 13th, 2025. And we have a couple of projects on our agenda. Just want to emphasize for anyone watching the recording, since it's so far a small group attending, that this is a committee of the ANC that is set up to enable the ANC to focus and to provide opportunity for community engagement. Um, no decisions, no decision making occurs at this meeting, but this presentation will, of course, be helpful and relevant as we move forward. And at the end of the presentation, I'll outline next steps in our process. And with that, I'd like to welcome Jamie Solomon, who is the architect here to present renovation and addition to a house at 3516 Newark Street Northwest. Mr. Solomon?
Super. Thank you for having us. And I'm sorry it didn't work out last month, but it's okay because we were not quite ready for prime time anyway. We were still really talking with HPO about different aspects of the project and trying to hustle to get those things included in our design. So let's give us some time to get things cleaned up, and also obviously it was time to talk with neighbors. Since we haven't a design finished, we really didn't have any time to talk to the neighbors about stuff last time as well. So that caused us a couple of problems, but now we're, I think, caught up. And this is the house at 3516 Newark Street. It's built about 1919, I believe. And our plans have nothing to do with anything on the street front at all. And I'm pretty sure that anything we do won't even be visible from the street at all as well. So nothing happening to the front porch or front of the house or sides of the existing historic house. We have neighbors at 3612 Newark Street, and then next door to us at 3618. They're getting ready to do a addition, as I'm sure you're aware from other things happened at this meeting before. So to sort of introduce what we're proposed to do the project, it's not a very large addition. Because in the back of the house, the owners before, the current owners who just purchased this last fall, had already done an addition in the rear in the 1990s that was sizable, not huge, but sizable. And so in our discussions with HPO and others about what we're doing back here, what the owners wanted to do was to sort of grow this half of the existing house and move it out about 16 feet along with its roof deck, giving us space to then enlarge the third floor. And we're doing that by basically replacing this dormer with a much larger dormer to achieve that. One of the characteristics of the original house is this pebble dash stucco that's everywhere. They've sort of I don't know if you can see it in this picture. They sort of mimic that in the addition from the 90s. And our proposal is to have everything on our new addition plus the existing addition to be a somewhat smoother stucco as opposed to the pebble dash, to create a contrast, but also to unify everything that was built, after the historic house. So looking at the main floor plan, the existing, this is the 90s addition back here. There was probably a porch of some sort back here as well. So the addition is in line with that existing addition, extends out about 16 feet. It's about 16 by 16 more or less. And it gives more space for their kitchen and family room space, and then reorganizing their interior space a little bit, with the main purpose of the addition on this floor being dining room space on the garden. On the second floor, the 1990s edition housed a primary bedroom and extension plus a bathroom. And these owners are trying want to move that bathroom back, tuck back into the house where there's sort of wasted space anyway, giving room for a new bedroom off on the addition overlooking the garden. And then the existing bedroom to the right gets enlarged a little bit. An elevator gets added from the basement to this floor, but nothing happening to the windows on this side of the house when we do all that. Everything stays as it is on the original historic house. And actually, nothing changes here either, since we're maintaining this gable end in its entirety. This I think is a new window though, or a rearranged window perhaps. And the big changes on the third floor, where before they had their roof deck with the gable roof of the addition, and everything up here being more or less original, with the dormer being used to get access to the roof deck. Now we're looking to enlarge that dormer way out to here, but still set well back from the edge of the gable, with the new roof deck on top of the addition, and then trying to open up some interior space for kids' recreation and play space on the third floor. With some reworking of the interior a little bit, but no roof line changes except for whatever's happening structurally in here to remove some of the old roof, but most of it stays intact. That's a comparison of the roof plans. And then the basement, they're seeking to do an enlargement of the existing basement all the way through the later crawl space into their new addition basement, which is still being worked out. In order to make that happen, because there's limited headroom to get into this area right now, we're looking to put a few steps over here down to make the headroom easier to navigate into these basement spaces from the side yard. So front and side, left side elevation, again, nothing changing in the front or on the existing house at all. Here's that modification to the side yard to get better headroom to the basement. This does not change really at all with the on the existing addition. And in the back, you see our addition and the line of the dormer beyond. And on the back side, the existing gable stays the way it is. These doors do change up so that all the doors on the addition and the existing match. Otherwise, the rest of the gable stays the same. There's some little errors in here of lines that shouldn't be there, but in the background you see the dormer, and on the side here's a dormer on the side with the addition and the roof deck. And this section cuts through the existing and new with the dormer extension, the lift on those 3 floors, and the expansion out the back. That's it in a nutshell. Is there anything I also can show you that might help to explain anything you might have questions about? There were some comments from Cleveland Park Historic Society where they were wondering about this stone wainscot in the back, and they'd like for it to go away, and maybe I would too. So I think that let's bring up another image here. So I think here's a model view of that thing. I think we're going to most likely do away with all of that stone wainscot. It was kind of getting in the way anyway and has some detailing issues. And I think in the end, I think it looks better. So they'll be happy, and I'm happy not to have to detail it and find the right stone for it, I think. So that's the current design, is to eliminate that stone wainscoting per their comments.
Okay. Anything else?
I think to illustrate the where was I? I think I had some. No, maybe it was not over here. Let me just find it.
By the way, that last image on the left where that stone was coming up, I thought it was like hiding windows accidentally when I went, and I was like, What? Why? Who covered up half the window?
Yes.
I had to make it make sense, like, but yeah.
So here is the existing house with its pebble dash stucco. And here's an approximation of what we're trying to do in a more smooth stucco for the addition. Here's the front view too, where you have the wood frame against the stucco. We're proposing that we'll be doing like a Marvin aluminum clad window and door in the back, um, with similar types of grills, but not exact, but similar.
Okay, well, first of all, I'll invite Commissioner Pagets if she has any questions and comments, and then I'll have a question.
Great.
I'm curious as to, you said that y'all reached out to the neighbors and were any concerns from them or like did they get
So
back?
there was concerns in our first meeting because they hadn't been contacted yet, and we were kind of standing by to do that. But with the holidays and people traveling, it was really hard, and we're still in flux with our design. It made no sense to give them anything yet. And I think that they're concerned because they hadn't been notified, and perhaps we had checked the wrong information. Well, in fact, I didn't check that we had. I checked that I didn't know because the owners had just bought the house and were talking to the owners or didn't talk. They met the owners at 12. They haven't talked about the addition yet. So again, things were kind of happening all at once back in January. So since then, I was able to bring plans to all the neighbors on both sides and the rear, talk to two of them and the people at 12. I did talk to one of the owners there briefly at the front door, and so they gave them information to contact me with information, etc. So seeing as they got the information, didn't have any real questions. I met with the owner at 3518 and her architect briefly last week to go over some things, and their concerns, mainly were about, administrative things with doing two things at once on the adjacent properties where we have issues with that. So they were, I think trying to get in touch about that sort of a thing. But since I've, brought plans and sent letters, I haven't heard anything back since then.
Cool.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, and I would note as well that this is at least the second iteration of the plans. Maybe there have been other tweaks, but I did hear from one neighbor to the east of the property who, had raised a question originally about notification, but has now seen the revised plans and is appreciative of the fact that the roof line has been changed so that it effectively lowers, the height of the roof as it would have joined the original structure in the original plan. It lowers it slightly, and so from that neighbor's perspective, it's an improvement. And I would say so as well. I think it's a simpler design that is even more compatible with the rear of the house. And while normally the ANC would not scrutinize additions in the rear in the way that we would in a front facing or side facing elevations that are visible from the front, it's still important that as much as possible additions be respectful of other properties. And I appreciate what you've done to evolve the design.
Thank you.
And let me just ask as well, have you received, what were the significant comments you received from HPO staff, and how have you responded to those?
I think you're seeing them reflected here in this latest design. That was sort of all happening why we were trying to meet last month. So they had no further comments at all. Their comments last were, make sure you see both committees and make sure the neighbors, are notified to clear the way for what they need to do. So they had to do nothing further.
Okay. Yeah, and given that two projects are likely to be underway at the same time, I'm sure anything you can do to coordinate a bit with the construction company on the property next door in terms of big truck deliveries and dumpsters and things will, I'm sure, be appreciated by the neighbors, who will also probably appreciate that while it's a sort of bigger projects at the same time, it will, both will probably be over at the same time or about there.
Hopefully.
Okay, so given where you are on the plans and the comments that I've heard from adjacent neighbors so far have been largely positive. I think that we're going to confirm this for the consent calendar at the ANC next week. And so I expect to be offering a resolution of no objection that is in, supportive of this. So at this point, it's not necessary for you or your client to present at the ANC next week. We expect to handle it on the consent calendar.
Super.
And but I do appreciate this presentation and again the way you've responded to feedback from HPO and the ARC and the neighbors. So
Great. Thank you very much.
good. Well, thank you. Appreciate it. And Janelle, I'm going to find out what happened with Muse Architects and get back to you, and we'll go from there.
Okay, great. Thank you
Great.
again.
All
Thank
right.
you so much. Thanks for all your help, Rick, with getting me through everything these last few weeks. Appreciate it.
Okay. Thanks again, everybody.
Take
Good
care.
Thank
Okay.
you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.